Hey everyone, welcome to this week's session of The Good, the Bad, and the Truth. It's your girl Naya Angel coming through with my homies for life, Mr. PAT and E-Man.
What
What's up,
up?
fellas?
What's good out there?
What
What's good
up?
out
What
there,
up?
everyone? What's up? What's up?
Let's go.
hmm
So we have some great topics to talk through this week, fellas. But before we do, our man E-Man has a special announcement he wants to make. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Night Angel. So, E-Man is known for his PSA, so he got one before we get started. So, I'm not too sure if you guys had a chance to listen, about my rant on, Ben Affleck not being Batman and whatnot, or he shouldn't be playing Batman. But I'm just letting y'all know, I ain't got no beef with Ben Affleck, all right? No beef whatsoever, all right? Because I don't eat beef. So I'm just letting y'all know that. I'm just letting my nerd self let everyone out there, all our good listeners, that he should not be playing Batman. And anybody who support me out there, I really appreciate it, all right? Because I'm letting y'all know. I'm going to make sure from the bottom of my heart that this fool don't play Batman because I'm getting tired of this BS, you know? And I'm just letting y'all know, E-Man got everyone out there. And for everyone who's been supporting me about this, you know what? I found a good Batman. So next, our special session that's supposed to be coming out pretty soon, I'll let you guys know who I think should be playing Batman. But let's get into our topics.
All right.
All right, sir.
All righty.
My guy said, I got y'all.
I always do. That's how I get down. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so we are going to jump right in, fellas, and talk about one of the silliest things I think I've heard in a while. So I'm very, very interested to hear you all's thoughts on this. But we're going to talk about the Foxitis debacle. So, for our listeners out there who do not know, there is a defendant. His name is Anthony Antonio, um, who is accused of being one of the U.S. Capitol rioters. And his lawyers claim is that he was suffering from a condition called Foxitis. Now, let me just spell this out for you all that are like, what? Yes, you heard correctly. Foxitis. Foxitis, as in Fox News with the word itis added to it. So I'll start by reading you all this little excerpt from the MSN article, which just gives a high level overview of what's happening here. U.S. Capitol riot defendant Anthony Antonio was hooked on Fox News and developed Foxitis and believed the lies about the 2020 election, his lawyer said during a virtual court hearing. So I am going to go ahead and throw this to Mr. PAT to start us off. What say you, sir?
All right. So my thoughts on Foxitis is it's straight up nonsense. Simple and plain, it's straight up nonsense. I personally might have to look at that lawyer as a suspected white supremacist for even saying some shit like that. It's clear that him and some media outlets are making excuses for the Capitol rioter. And I said some media outlets because when I did a search on this topic, some of the headlines said, quote, alleged Capitol rioter, or
That's what we doing now.
right. Well, you know how they roll.
Yeah,
Or
they always throw a ledge in front of their shit.
so they said alleged Capitol rioter, or I saw accused Capitol rioter. So I mean, seeing that, my thing is now we all know if this was a black person, the terms alleged and accused wouldn't have even been in the headlines. Let's just keep it 100. Those two terms, those two words wouldn't even be in the headlines. It would be capital rioter. You know, they would have just said it simple and plain. So we know those two words wouldn't even be in headlines.
Right, exactly.
So while the term Foxitis is nonsensical, it does speak to the fact that the right wing nut jobs out there, the folks who are fans of Fox News, I mean, they basically like they this is something that they would come up with, because after all, Fox News is a propaganda machine for the right wing. Anyone with any real sense wouldn't waste so much of their time watching Fox News. But as we all know, a lot of people do watch it. And these people watch it religiously. Fox News, like all of the other major media outlets out there, including the ones on the left side of the equation, have certain tactics that they use in order to reel people in. Now, these people, whether they're on the left or the right, become zombies to the propaganda, and they become zombies to the propaganda that best suits their own worldview.
Because they agree with their own bullshit.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's whatever,
Right.
it's whatever reinforces their bullshit, pretty much. So if you're a person who is for one or the other, I'm gonna just say this simple and plain: you're not a critical thinker, and that's just coming from me. That's what I think. You are not a critical thinker. You are someone who doesn't think for themselves, and you have a hard time being objective. Now, let's just lay it all out there. We all know that the Capitol rioters were Trump supporters. Obviously, one could come to the conclusion that this particular rioter, along with the others, have had, quote, Foxitis for who knows how long, because obviously these are the people, the same right-wing nut jobs that I was talking about earlier. These are the same folks who do watch Fox News. So while the term Foxitis is a bunch of nonsense, just to contradict myself real quick, I mean, you know, maybe there might be, I guess something to it, because maybe these people probably do, you know, because they're zombied out on Fox News. And, you know, they've been zombied out for who knows how long. And I'm sure there's a CNN-itis also, regardless of whatever itis these people have.
CNN-itis. That is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying
that's silly.
You know, because CNN, we all know CNN is on the left side of the equation. You know, you got your right wing and you got your left wing. So of course, Fox being on the right wing, CNN, MSNBC, and all the other channels are on the left wing. You know, so that's why I said there's probably a CNN-itis out there, even though that would be a nonsensical term also. But I'm sure there's folks out there who probably have that, because of course, you know, there's the left wing nut jobs as well who are going to be zombied out on that stuff. So regardless,
they're all in it together. That's
right. They're all the same.
All in it together.
On the same bird. It's two wings on the same bird. That's how I've always framed it. So regardless of whatever itis these people have, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still no excuse for their behavior. So just to wrap this part up, for a lawyer, a lawyer, to throw that term out there for their client, to me, it actually says a lot more about them than the client. Because now this lawyer I mean, obviously a lawyer is supposed to defend their client. That's part of their job. Fine. But
Something like that. They're
but
supposed to, but do they really do though?
no, they do. But here's the thing: it's like not when you start coming up with these bullshit ass terms. That's just straight up nonsense. I mean, it's really laughable when you think about it. I mean, Foxitis, and
it's the same situation as sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Pat. I was just going to say it's the same situation as the guy that said he was having a bad day when that shooter, shot those people at that grocery store in Colorado a few months ago. And the officer on duty had the nerve to say at a press conference that the guy was having a bad day. That officer and this lawyer are both representative of the idea that white privilege is so prevalent that they could get away with making absolutely ridiculous claims as defense in order to alleviate the onus from these people. Like the fact they're comfortable doing that is bullshit. But I'll get into that later. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. Actually, I'm pretty much done. I was just gonna say that just like you said, it's people make excuses for white folks when they do some bullshit, pretty much.
I'm gonna start saying
it goes back to what I was saying before. I guess quite a few podcasts ago where I was talking about whiteness is protected. It's all about protecting whiteness. Even when they do something wrong, there still has to be a way to kind of like smooth it over. To kind of like make them seem like they're innocent. It's kind of like the whole lone wolf or they're having a bad day. It's always some bullshit to excuse their behavior or to excuse their fuck ups, really, because that is just about protecting whiteness. So you got to protect whiteness at all costs. That's pretty much like the law of the land, or one of the many laws of the land, is protecting whiteness. You demonize blackness, but you protect whiteness. So Foxitis falls right in there. It's a nonsensical term, but it shouldn't shock anybody.
It shouldn't really shock anybody, but if that's the case, I'm gonna just start saying, you know what, I have a bad day too. I'm gonna see how far I'm gonna go with that though. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a
right. I was gonna say, be careful.
I'm gonna just be like, you know what,
you gonna actually get.
We're not allowed to have a bad day.
Yeah, we're not allowed to have a bad day. But it seems like when I see, that's what I'm gonna start saying now. I'm just like, hold on. He can have a bad day. I can't have a bad day. So what's the difference between me and him? That's all I'm saying. Everybody
just don't try it with cops for me. Please don't do that.
Oh no. I tell them fools they having a bad day, they over here look at me crazy and be like, nigga, what? But yeah.
But no, thanks for your input on that, Mr. PAT. E-Man, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it to you. What say you, sir?
Man. So just to let everyone know out there, I didn't even know what the fuck this shit was, at all. Like, I didn't know, like, the term was actually called Foxitis. I didn't. Then looking at the video that Nia Angel sent me, I'm sitting over here laughing my ass off. I almost fell out my damn chair, to be honest, and whatnot. So my first response to this, you motherfuckers are just creating BS and bullshit to cover your asses. Like, you know what? And if that's the case, let me start creating some diseases and whatnot, and like new disorders and whatnot. You got Foxitis. Hell, can I call something, like, I don't know, when you get drunk too much off juice, can I say I got juice-itis and whatnot? That's what it seems. It seems like we got to find excuses for everything. And if it don't have a medical term to it, it seems like, well, you didn't fuck up. You just couldn't be yourself. And I can't believe a lawyer took that. What's an easier word? Not to curse him out, but then make him not feel stupid. What's that word? Like, Is it insane? No, I don't think it's insane. There's like a word that sounds a lot more kinder, but he's still, I got the word, a piece of shit. So I can't believe a lawyer would even take that claim to court. And like, I'm sorry. Like, the lawyer's a
sorry,
piece of
but
shit.
it's just hitting me that you said I got the word a piece of shit.
That's what I'm saying. You see?
Like, man, that's a nice word.
Like, I couldn't get the word out, but then I found it. It took me a while to, like, ease it down and be like, you know what? It's there. Let it hit, E-Man. You got it, soon. You got it. And I was like, boom, there it goes. But that's the claim you bring up to court, man. You might as well just pack your bags and go to clown school, you fool. You shouldn't be a lawyer and whatnot to create some loomy stuff like, oh, because he watched like 6 months of Fox News, like he went crazy. I mean, Fox lies all the damn time, you know? You don't see me sitting over here eating a bunch of candy and then all of a sudden I lose my mind and be like, okay, I'm a crackhead because I ate a lot of candy, you know? It don't work that way, man. It don't work that way. And I can't believe someone entertained this BS, especially a judge and whatnot, to go to court and tell that my client has Foxitis. That's not even a real thing. I don't know. Because if I was one of the jurors, like sitting in court, I'd be sitting over there like, you dumb motherfucker, you know? And I probably would have done it with like a Chappelle voice too on top of that too. Just say. But this is the type of shit that goes on every day. And this is the type of shit that everyone laughs at. And then you question what is wrong with our judicial system. Like, this is the shit that we talk about that goes wrong every single day. And I feel like man, I feel like I didn't dig a hole, but I feel like all of y'all should go dig your own graves. That's what it is, you know, because this is silly, beyond silly. And I can't believe this was entertained and whatnot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that. And for a judge to allow some fucking BS like that, it's a damn shame and whatnot. You know what?
Well, I'm sure, or at least I'm hoping. I can't say that I'm sure because I don't know, right? I can't speak on behalf of the judge, obviously, but I would love to think that that judge recognized that as one of the most asinine fucking defenses that have ever been presented in the history of defenses and accordingly dismissed it. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for that.
I hope so too, because Foxitis is not even a word. Where I'm like, and for all whoever's out there towards in the medical field and whatnot, I'm a holistic like practitioner and a personal trainer, and I've never even heard of the word Foxitis. It's to the point that I feel like you guys went to the dictionary, took the word fox and itis, slap it together, and be like, you know what, we got a new word. And I'm like,
it is a colloquialism for someone who listens to Fox News and the bullshit they're constantly spewing, and his lawyer's attempt to provide some type of explanation or excuse for absolutely ridiculous and actually technically treasonous behavior. I mean, let's be clear here. Mm-hmm. What the Capitol rioters did, by all our legal definitions, was an act of treason. So for this lawyer to have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to actually present that argument to an actual judge on behalf of someone who should be being charged with treason, to me, is a blatant show of the white privilege that this defendant and this lawyer believe they have. You know, could you fathom even 15, 20 years ago, anyone using such an obtuse and ridiculous ass defense in such a serious way. 15, 20 years ago, that wouldn't have been the case, right? Not you, at least you wouldn't have heard about it as much as you're hearing about it now due to social media and etc. But even still, the likelihood of someone actually using that would not have been as high. The key differentiator between then and now is that now we live in a society where sensitivity has somehow become an acceptable excuse for bullshit behavior. Everyone has to walk on tippy toes and etc. not to offend anyone these days because everyone's so sensitive about everything. So the
This whole
adverse effect
bullshit
of
on
that is
collective.
that people are using that sensitivity to commit these heinous acts. And because of the society we live in now, where everything is politically correct and everything is about recognizing everyone's feelings, they're
Correct.
trying this bullshit.
Yeah, this whole political correctness shit needs to stop. Like it just needs to
Absolutely.
stop. It just needs to
PC
stop.
culture.
Yeah, it's going too far. Like it's one thing to be so and we briefly touched on this when we talked about the Me Too movements and etc. And I want to make clear, I want to put this out there that again, these views that we discuss on this podcast are individual. They are not representative of a group of as a whole, and we absolutely in no way are implying that everyone does not have the right to live their own lives. They totally do. However, what is happening now, just like with the Me Too movement or the cancel culture situation, is that everyone is trying to police and sensitize, if that's a word, that's the word that I'm going to use for lack of a better term, everything, right? Everyone needs to be ultra sensitive to everyone about everything else. And the reality of it is that is not how human nature works. We are naturally indifferent to situations that we do not directly associate or have a common ground with, but that doesn't mean that we have to be insensitive to the situation. However, this is an example of the other side of it. If you keep pushing a society where everyone has to be overly sensitive about everything, the other side of it is that when people now commit crimes and acts that are absolutely atrocious, they are going to attempt to use this heightened sense of sensitivity and PCism in their defense. And I'm going to
Great
call
point.
bullshit every time.
That's a good point. But I tell everyone, like, they keep trying to inflict our own free will. Like they want to take our free will away. You know?
Yeah, that's what they're doing right now. I mean,
that's what they're doing.
A slow move.
You know what I'm saying?
Taking free will away, freedom of speech, all that.
Yeah. Because knowledge is by far the most powerfulest thing in the world, no matter what. You know, that's why everyone keeps saying the same: knowledge is power. It will always be power because that's what helps you create your own free will.
Exactly. But free will, and I know this is not what you're saying, but just to elaborate this to this subject, free will does not constitute the right to break law. And that's what people need to understand.
I think
this guy has no free will to be a capital rioter. That's treason, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, and the thing is with free will, there's free will. We all have free will, which is obviously great, and we need to keep it that way. But with free will, there's consequences.
Exactly.
So it's one thing to have your free will and practice it, which we all want to do. All of us on this panel, everybody on this planet, we all want to have our free will and continue to express that. But there are always consequences. Good, bad, positive, negative. There's consequences. So people just need to be prepared for the consequences of inflicting their free will or using their free will. So
that is
absolutely right.
That is correct. And and just piggybacking off this, there's when you choose to make a decision, and you're not going to say free will taking over, but once you make a decision, You've already, you already opposed your free will, to, depending on what that is and whatnot. You know, and I mean, in this case and whatnot, the dude felt what he did was right, but behind that, he did get a consequence. But looking at this case and everything, they're trying to lessen to tell the public that what he did was actually right versus what he did what was wrong. And the reason why I'm saying this is that for them to create something so he can get off from this, it's telling the fact that basically what he did was right, knowing that everyone know what he did was wrong and whatnot. So I don't want no one to feel confused what I just said, but basically the things that they do in courtrooms is supposedly supposed to help us so that we don't keep crazy or insane or people who don't need to be in society until they get their act together. But because of stuff like this is why the shit that keeps going on keeps continuing and whatnot. And I don't think it's going to stop until we start putting the right people where they belong. But we'll see we'll see when it happens. That's the thing that I question every day about this system, whatnot. You guys, they talk about we want to be righteous. We want to make sure that every law-abiding citizen is safe. If we're safe, then put the people who are not acting well in society where they need to be at. But no, it seems like you guys enjoy keeping us
Well,
around
we know the
people.
reasons they're not doing that, right?
Yeah.
Because there are other
Yeah.
influences there.
And,
Like it's
and
that
this is
simple.
and that's the driving force that drives me insane every day. So that's why I'd be like, about and just this topic alone just proves it and whatnot. To literally create something that's not even real, so you can justify that what he did was right, knowing what he did was wrong. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Hmm. Yep. All righty. Well, thank you for sharing, E-Man. So
no
I pretty
problem.
much covered this over these last few minutes, but the gist of the matter is, it's clearly bullshit, right? It's an absolutely just preposterous notion that the lawyer would even have the gall and audacity to suggest that claim. Again, yes, there are going to be instances where people are highly influenced by a number of different forms, right? It could be people are highly influenced by podcasts. It could be that people are highly influenced by television shows, by newspapers, by articles, by books, by movies, and etc. But one of the oldest arguments that people have always made is, that video games create killers or etc. And killers who have made that
You need to
claim
stop
have
that lie.
still been found guilty. They've still been found responsible.
You need to stop with that
Like
lie, though.
they're right. And of course we
That's a bunch of
disagree. I'm not
nonsense.
saying I agree with the notion, right? But it has been an argument that has been made in the past. Violent movies, invoked violent behavior in people and etc. But if you look at those past instances, those people face their consequences justly, right? And we know it's bullshit because ultimately individuals are responsible for the decisions. Unless they're crazy and can't understand wrong from right, any individual who commits a crime should stand trial for that crime. The fact that they would have the audacity and gall to even present this defense is ridiculous. I think the fact that Fox is actually guilty of spreading a whole bunch of bullshit, especially for the political aspect of it, is definitely valid. But for that matter, a lot of news media outlets do that. I'm not, and I've said many times before, I do not associate with any particular political party. I hold politicians responsible according to the expectations of their role and the campaign form on which they received votes. So for me, I am not liberal, I am not Republican, I am not any of those things. I don't go by title. And I take the accountability and responsibility to make sure I understand who I am supporting, regardless of their political affiliation. Well, the same thing applies here. This man was of sound mind and body when he made a decision to raid that Capitol building, which ended in people losing their lives. This man is guilty of treason. And I do not appreciate, nor do I have the ability to sugarcoat the bullshit. This defense is bullshit. And it's an offensive.
Great bullshit.
Right, exactly. It's an offensive defense. Okay, it's offensive. It's offensive to our Constitution. It's offensive to my intelligence. It's offensive to the families of those who lost their lives. It's offensive to the entire situation. It's bullshit.
That's why I hate politics, and they all need to go to hell. All of them.
Yeah.
They need to go burn in hell. That's what they need to do. All you damn politicians.
This case, was
motherfuckers don't know how to do anything right.
Civilian. Right. But this is a civilian lawyer. This person, to my understanding, this rioter is not a politician, and neither is their lawyer. It's just the state of the country, and all of these social justice movements have really heightened people's necessity to be sensitive to the way others feel. So that actually gave way for this lawyer to feel comfortable making such a preposterous defense. Well, I have 2 words to say to that. Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Yep.
That's
great bullshit.
So, all right, fellas, good stuff.